from the books that I've read of yours,
Yes.
I went through Comixology and picked up about four different titles that were sort of anthology style books.
Yeah.
A lot of what I read of yours was regarding the character of the Ghost.
Yes.
So yeah, go for it. Tell me, what do you currently have going on as a creator?
Okay. Well, I'll give you a little. Ghost is something that Bradley Golden and I did with Arden Belfry. Arden Belfry's PEI artist,
Mm-hmm.
and Bradley, like I said, the CEO, Second Sight. Great writer in his own. And then myself, we did a Ghost title for
Yep.
it ran through Exciting Comics for a bit,
Mm.
but we introduced a few characters, Lady Claw, stuff like that. That's done. The Antarctic thing is done now. So, but for myself, I have like I've showed you, I've got the Carnus Nocturnus, the World War I story that Jaden and I have written, and
Mm-hmm.
Brian, and I hope I don't mispronounce his last name, but it's Maykish. Um, and he's phenomenal. Like he's his like I actually look. This is Carnus Nocturnus right here.
Nice.
Yeah, that's some pretty wicked art. Like
Yeah.
I've got more pages. Like it's going to be in the next issue of Harvest Wars. This is a two-part story arc going on there. It's got the characters Piker and George South and the other Chapman, the real World War I veterans in it.
Mm-hmm.
That storyline is going to be running through Harvest of Horrors. Brian has this amazing ability to make things look gritty. Like I'd love to show you some of the stuff he sent me lately. It's phenomenal. You can feel the grittiness of World
Mm.
War One coming through the pages, and that's what I wanted. And like when I write something, I always write something whenever I write something with anybody, like with any artist that's going to do it, I always have a disclaimer. It always says, if you think you can, if there's something you can do that makes this story better, or that adds to the pacing, or something I may have forgot or whatever, do it, because it's all
Oh,
about the
okay.
finished product. It's not about my ego and, oh my God, Peter Breau wrote this. No, it's about the finished product. So if you can come up with something better, do it, right? And he's just phenomenal at these backgrounds, phenomenal at capturing the whole grit of of World War One. So it's going to be in black and white. Just there was a color version of the Knock Feast, but
Okay.
it's this one's going to be in black and white. You know, um, I have an Atom Man, which is a superhero storyline that I'm doing with Phil Williams Jr. I got something I can show you from that right there. You know,
Oh,
it's a superhero.
nice.
It's a superhero story. It's called Big Trouble in a Small Space, and it's Phil Williams Jr. is the artist out of Florida. He's doing that. I'm the writer on it. I've got I've got another one called Saw Wayne's Gate, and
Okay.
I'm writing it at art by Benito Tovar, and I'm co-writing it with number one internationally best-selling Zombie on the Rocks author Paul Carberry.
Awesome.
So yeah, like Paul, shout out to Paul. He just his Zombie on the Rocks novels just hit number one in the United States, number one in Great Britain, number one in Canada. So he was like a three continent, had they put it, three continent number one bestseller, on Amazon
Wow.
for, yeah. So him and I, like, he's a friend of mine. He's Nova Scotia. He's from Newfoundland, but he lives in
Okay.
Halifax now. But he was from Newfoundland. He lives in Halifax now. And him and I struck up a friendship a few years ago, and it's really interesting story. Like, we're talking online, and he says, guess what? He says, I'm going to kill you in my next book. I said, oh, you are? He's like, yeah. He said, and he wrote this book called Carcharodon, and there's a chapter in there where I'm in there, and I'm with my family, Kelly, my wife, my son Dante, my other son Jaden. I go snorkeling, and this great big friggin' shark comes and eats me. So I said, okay,
Nice.
well, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to put you in my Mississippi zombie story. It's all about commerce, and you're going to be in there, and I'm gonna make you the hero. Then I'm going to turn you into a zombie and kill you.
Nice.
So in Mississippi Zombie, it's all about commerce part two. The hero, Paul Carberry, the writer for, the zombie author guy, shows up. He becomes a character in the story, right? That should be out in Mississippi Zombie 3, coming out in the fall, right? Either the yeah,
Nice.
yeah, the fall. And so we've got this little thing going on. So we decided, hey, why don't we co-write a comic book together, right? So we're writing this Civil War zombie epic, and him and I are co-writing it. And we've got this Benito Tovar. He's the artist on it. And so then, like I told you about, These Damn Kids is coming out. It's a three-part
Mm-hmm.
story, three comic books, like three 22 pagers,
Yeah. So the
and
okay.
yeah, so it's a three-part storyline. It's part of the whole, horror verse of Second Sight,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like Bradley and I are co-writing it, and Helmut Racco out of the Philippines he's drawn it. It's finished. We're doing a
Oh, okay.
release, a Halloween release for this.
Well, I mean, it sounds like absolutely you're keeping yourself busy through personal work as well as through Second Sight. When it comes to Second Sight, so all the books you guys got available, if folks out in Toronto and Saskatchewan, wherever, or in the States want to, they can go to their local stores with the diamond codes or look in previews and be able to order your books, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they can also probably just pick them right up off the shelves. I would imagine there's some there if they haven't sold out. But if you want like Freak Show Night or Duplicate, you better grab them now, because they're like, I followed Jonathan on online, and they're like my comic book shop and all these places, all the big stores have sold out of the Freak Show Night,
Oh,
right? Well, because his recount stuff that he's got going on, it's like up to issue 3 now. I think issue 4 is coming up. Is pretty good. Is phenomenal stuff, eh? And
awesome.
so like, they see his name and like, hey, snatch this right up, right? So,
Good.
and
That
it's
is
and the
fantastic.
artist on it's really good too, like Stefano Cardellesi out of Cardoselli out of Italy.
Yeah.
Like he's doing quite a few more covers. He's got a lot more stuff going on from Second Sight from him. We've got a few titles of his coming out, plus the anthology that I'm editing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a story from Stefano that's going to be in it, that he wrote and drew. I'm a fanatic for his art. His art's fantastic. I love it.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad to hear it. And yeah, as I mentioned, you've kind of tapped me out of questions. Is there anything else that you would want fans to know, whether it's how to get the books or what to look out for?
No, just follow us on, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, like, we're in stores everywhere. So you go to a store, you're looking for Second Sight stuff, just ask for Second Sight, like, look in the previews catalog. The newest issue of preview should be probably coming out soon. That'll have our
Yeah.
our stuff that's coming out. Like I said, right now we've got Chess and Blowtorch and Duplicant, Carlin Appy's Duplicant, and Jonathan Hendricks. Freak Show Night next month. We've got like the Lady Freedom 2, and we've got another trade paperback coming out, like that Bradley did, called Cold Blooded with John Crowther. And like, this is Bradley Golden doing what Bradley Golden does best, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Writing horror stuff. We've got that coming out, and we've got like this Book of Lyaxia 2 is coming out, next month. So just keep an eye on, and I always have this disclaimer whenever I finish anything. If I have forgotten to mention anybody or mention any project or butchered somebody's name, which I always do, right? It's
Yeah.
that whole French Canadian maritime accent thing going on, right? St. John with a mix of French Canadian, right? I'm sorry, like I ramble, a 1 hour podcast turned into two. So I ramble, and like I'm passionate about, what I do. I'm passionate about Second Sight. I'm passionate about my projects. So I like to talk about them. And so if I forgot about anybody, or if I made a mistake in anybody's name, or if I, you know, said someone was a writer and they're an artist or whatever, I'm deeply sorry, and I'll, try not to do it again.
Perfect. Well, I think that is the perfect Canadian sign off for that,
Oh,
Peter.
exactly. Yes, yes, the perfect Canadian sign off.
Perfect. Well, Peter, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight and talking comics with me. I am super excited to see some of your personal work, as well as some of the other works coming out by Second Sight Press. And I'm glad to see that people out there in YouTube land can actually pick them up at their local shops. And if your shops don't carry it yet, ask them to so they can bring
Yeah,
it in.
ask them about it. Like, ask for Second Sight. We're the future of indie comics, right? And like we say here on the back of the comic, take a second look at horror,
Nice.
fantasy, and heroes. Take a second look.
I like that. Perfect.
Yeah, Konrad, it's been great, man. This has been a pleasure. It's always good to talk to another fellow Canadian. You know,
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. Yeah, and I look forward to the future with you.